Welcome to the Braddog Media Show with your host, Brady Hester.
What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Brady Hester. Today we are welcomed by Jessica DeLuise. She is known as the Wellness Kitchenista. And it was a super interesting week to get her on the podcast because she just transitioned her brand from Eat Your Way to Wellness to the Wellness Kitchenista. And I asked her about all the challenges with that, her ultimate goals, and we also get into personal branding and the reasons why everybody needs a personal brand if they really want to grow. And she's a great example of that. We can all learn from her. She's been on the Dr. Oz show. Ever heard of him? She's also been a host on QVC. Ever heard of it? And it was super interesting to talk with her about all of that. We also get into cheat meals, which she's not a fan of. You'll just have to wait for that one. And most importantly, I ask her if Taco Bell can be included in my diet. Her answer may actually surprise you, so stay tuned for that. And if you're enjoying the podcast, I would really appreciate if you like and maybe drop me a comment. I'll see it and reply. And I would also appreciate a subscribe. I have awesome big guests coming up and I don't want you to miss future episodes. So thanks so much. Enough from me. Let's get to the show. Today my guest is a culinary medicine specialist, physician assistant, on-air expert with Calphalon on QVC. You may know her now as the Wellness Kitchenista. Please welcome Jessica DeLuise.
Yay! Clapping for me. Well, thanks. I'm excited. This is going to be really fun.
It is. I'm glad to have you today.
Thanks for having me. So let's get into it. What's up?
Let's do it. I mean, it's great timing this week. You've transitioned your personal brand and, gone on to a little bit of a different direction here with the Wellness Kitchenista.
Yeah.
How did that kind of come about?
Yeah. It's funny. So as of the beginning of September, we launched a whole new brand, new website, new services. I think I've been in practice as a physician assistant for over 10 years. And then about 2.5 years ago, 2018, I left my full-time job and really tried to empower and enrich others and educate them about all of the things they could do in their life that were not difficult. They were not complicated, but they really allowed for the opportunity to make a positive choice to make them feel good. And I started a business called Eat Your Way to Wellness. And originally that business was, I was making little snack bites for people. So I was working full time as a PA, and then I was making little snack bites for them or meal prepping for them on the weekends. And I truly was like, okay, fine. If I could give people those tools, those quick snacks, those quick meals, they would feel better, right? And they were all in line with whatever their health issues were, whatever their goals were. And then I made these little snack bites, which were little like snack balls, and I sold them at the farmer's market. And then that quickly transitioned out. So I was selling those for about 2-3 months at the farmer's market. And forever, that is literally known as the summer that I sold my balls. And we laugh about it now, but I think that's what happens, right? I think as you get out into business, and I didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. I came from a very blue collar family, and you kind of figure it out and you have to pivot. And, it's not one straight and narrow path that you take to the finish line. If you ever get to the finish line, I don't think we ever really do, right? And so when I rebranded, it was really because we had this international pandemic, and I was really looking for a way to shift everything that I was offering to private patients to virtual services, and some services working with brands and promoting a really practical, healthy lifestyle. And so it just worked. It just, became me as the brand with the Wellness Kitchenista. And not only me as the brand, but me as the brand and supporting all of my followers, everyone I was connected to on social media and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, everyone that's seeing my show on Amazon Prime, all of these things. It was really a shift toward, okay, what can I do better? How can I support people? And that's what happens sometimes, right? We just kind of figure it out as we go.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it works so well. I've really enjoyed following you on Instagram because I'm always looking for healthy choices when it comes to meals. And your meals are so innovative. Like you come up with so many things that, man, I've never seen or heard of. What are some of the interesting things that, you put out there that people could look for?
Yeah, well, I think that I grew up in a New York Italian household, and so my main goal when I cook in the kitchen is it has to taste good. And so me and my husband, we love to eat. Like it's one of the few times where we really just break away from our cell phones and our computers and work, and we get to eat and talk to each other and check in with one another. And it has to taste good. We really has to, we want to enjoy our meal. And I think so often for people when they're making positive choices, that's something that's lacking. It's so restrictive. It's so, okay, I have to lose weight or I have to eat for my high blood pressure. What do I have to remove? And we lose the flavor. We lose that nostalgia and that enjoyment at mealtime. And so for me, it was so important when I started to put recipes out there. They actually tasted good. They were reminiscent of all the things that I grew up eating, but we've elevated the ingredients. So, not conventional beef, grass-fed and finished beef, right? Not just regular water to make rice. It's bone broth, which has some other benefits. And I think when you make those easy swaps, it no longer becomes a game of what can I eat, but how can I really elevate this to feel my best? And so it's practical, it's easy, it's quick. I work full time. Obviously, I produce a TV show, right? So I employ a lot of the practices that I promote on social media. And so, and people really love what I put out there. So I'm glad to hear you say that too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it really pops on the Instagram page. So it's really cool to follow along and see.
Yeah, thank you.
And I have to ask, when I first started following you, I kind of look back, through social media posts, see what's going on. And I saw your brother get in the mix. So he's preparing something, trying to be like his sister here, right?
Mm-hmm.
He cuts off his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing these days?
I know. Okay, so funny. So my brother, first of all, I'm going to spoil. Let me tell you the story. Actually, I won't spoil alert it. I'll take you through. So my brother I have two brothers who are both married, and so I love my brothers so much, and in so many ways I look up to them. And I think I'm the oldest, and I think they look up to me too. So there's a nice mutual give and take there. And my sister-in-laws too. I really look up to them as well. But my brother, they saw that video. Him and my sister-in-law saw a video that I made on TikTok about a tip for not letting your cutting board slip on your countertop. Which, by the way, if you just put a damn cloth or paper towel under your cutting board, it doesn't slide back and forth. Okay,
yeah,
who knew? So he saw that I was just starting to get into TikTok a couple months ago, and he saw this video, and I posted it on social media, and he thought that it was a great idea to dig into his old magic box. Now, both of my brothers are in production and theater and performance, and so he dug into his old magic box and got some fake blood out, and actually mocked the whole thing. And so when I posted that video of him mocking me and cutting off his thumb on social media, it ended up getting more views and likes than my original video. So just, whatever, a testament to how believable it was. It was pretty funny though.
Oh, it's so funny.
So he's fine to answer your question.
Thank goodness. It looks so real. I was worried about him.
Yeah, no, he, that was that. I mean, listen, it's all about having fun, right? I really do not take myself too seriously. Being in healthcare, especially now, right? Especially in the world of 2020 and COVID-19 and all these things, healthcare is so heavy. I mean, we're constantly talking about risk and death and illness and prognosis, and it's just so heavy that I really try to find those little opportunities to laugh and make things fun, especially when it comes to positive change, especially when it comes to lifestyle modification, because it's just, you have to enjoy the ride. It's just, people get so in their head about, I have to do all these things. I have to detox. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. But part of the stress and the sleep and, your cortisol levels, it's all tied into wellness. So we just need to take a chill pill, have some water, maybe some alcoholic beverages if it's safe, and just, take a step back. And so that's really the motto that I have with my whole life, especially with my patients, especially with what I put out there on social media. It's just let's have fun. Let's take a break. Let's enjoy it,
Definitely. I mean, we could use that now more than ever, right?
Oh, yeah.
We totally need that positive, kind of point of view on healthcare, because pretty much anything related to healthcare right now is serious, dire, and really dark. So
Right.
It's
Exactly.
great that you're shedding a positive light on health.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what is going on right now sucks. It sucks. It sucks for so many reasons. Not only in healthcare, but in the economy, with schools, with people losing their jobs. I mean, it really, it sucks. So I don't mean to, not trivializing it in any way, but I do think that understanding that, this is what it is. We have no control over some of these external factors in our life. All we can do is really look inside ourselves, take care of ourselves, sleep, nourish our bodies as much as possible so that if, the unfortunate event happens when we are exposed to a virus or we get ill, we're that much more prepared to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And so something else I'm really curious about, and maybe your brothers have something to do with this growing up performing.
Yes.
You seem so comfortable in front of the camera. I don't think most people involved with healthcare really want anything to do with the camera or the spotlight.
Yeah.
How did you become so comfortable in front of the camera and get into all that?
Um, that's a good one. Oh goodness, I don't know. I think I do it so much more for the people receiving the information than I do for personal gain, if that makes any sense. I
Yeah.
really am so passionate about what I do. And I'm so energetic, and I really want to keep just pushing forward and figuring out the next better way to help somebody. And I think, that was obviously why I went into healthcare. But um, in front of the camera, that's never been a place I felt comfortable. In fact, giving public speaking, public speaking in PA school, or even talking with patients, it was always something that was extremely stressed and anxiety provoking. Just doing it, I think just doing it and doing it and doing it and being comfortable and understanding who I was and what I could offer, not trying to be somebody else, really helped me. Just understanding this is my expertise, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm maybe not going to reinvent the wheel for what somebody else is doing, or maybe I am, right? Maybe what I do overlaps with someone else, and that's cool. It is what it is. Just being comfortable in my messaging and what I was doing in my mission, and understanding that if I got this out there, that whoever was going to be receiving the information would be that much more well off, has really, really helped me. And I think, as entrepreneurs in general and people, we're so uncomfortable with being uncomfortable that
Right.
we just avoid situations rather than embracing it and saying, being uncomfortable is actually how we grow. And being uncomfortable is how we progress forward and how we get through these really trying times. So, a lot of caffeine, keep me energetic. I joke kind of, but yeah. So I'm not sure. It's really has been a progression. It really has been a progression, and trying to relinquish some of that thought process that people are constantly judging me, or maybe they're not liking what I put out. Great. You know what? Then move on. Either move on from the video, don't like the post. I had to relinquish a lot of that. Like, I just don't care anymore, right? Like, someone's going to get value from this because it's good stuff. So if you don't, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah,
So
totally. And we're always our biggest critics, right? So,
yes, that
you
is true.
know, we're being judged a lot less by the people watching than ourselves. So, I try to keep that in mind, and,
Yeah.
that helps me a little bit.
You're probably right. We're probably thinking, oh my gosh, they're thinking X, Y, and Z. And meanwhile, none of those thoughts have ever popped into their brain at all. But yeah, but that's the thing too. I think being on camera is very similar to being an entrepreneur, because you're putting yourself in situations that you're unfamiliar with, and so you really need to be adaptable. And I always say this: either you win some or you learn, right? It's not you win some, you learn some. Like, you win some, or you just learn that maybe you do it a little bit differently in the next meeting or the next go at it, right?
Yeah. So,
So
positive either way, right?
that's it. And preparation really helps too. Sorry, I'm like talk. I'm. This is here. This is thoughts by Jessica today.
No, this is great.
But I think preparation too. I had a friend that recently started to do a video podcast, a digital series. Actually, I should give it. It deserves to be called a digital series. And preparation and knowing what you're going to say and rehearsing what you're going to say over and over and over again actually allows you the opportunity to feel comfortable, because it comes second nature, that you're not really like, oh my gosh, how am I going to word this? I already know how I'm going to word it. Now you just put my own little personal flair on it. So, making sure that you allow people are so quick, like, we're in a microwave. They want to get out there, do their digital series, put out their podcast, start their business. It's Friday, like Friday's the deadline. And it's like, well, sometimes it takes a couple months to really do your research and prepare and understand how you're going to brand yourself and what your mission is. And we're in a microwave society that giving yourself enough time, preparation, not giving two shits about what anyone thinks, and just giving yourself some grace and forgiveness. Sometimes the things that I say to myself or other people say to themselves they're never words I would utter to another human being. So it's like, why am I uttering them to myself? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're always hardest on yourself.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And man, having that skill set of being on camera is huge for your personal brand, right? Because you have to actually show your face.
Right.
Otherwise, how are you going to develop a personal brand? So
right.
How has developing a personal brand been helpful to you in your career? Because I see, so many people are in healthcare, but not many are willing to go out there and, put themselves out there and explore bigger opportunities and, put their face in front of a camera. But what kind of opportunities have come from that for you?
Yeah, putting yourself out there, especially now in 2020 with social media. Social media was never something that I was into. Being in the hospital and being with patients, it was not a priority of mine. It's not, I grew up when I was younger, I was actually asked to my junior prom via AIM, like AOL Instant Messenger,
right.
Just to give you perspective on how old I am. And so I really had to learn social media and put myself out there. The opportunities that it's opened up, I would not be here today if I hadn't started this, if I hadn't put myself out there, if I hadn't gone and sold my balls at a farmer's market and did presentations and told people about different types of foods and whatever. And that's really how it all started. I now have the opportunity, obviously, we have a show I produced, I own it. It's called Eat Your Way to Wellness. It's on Amazon Prime. And that was an opportunity that only came because I started to put myself out there. And I'm often asked to contribute to my local news. Some brands reach out to me. They want to partner and do maybe a cooking class or have me promote their brand. And of course, there's there's a lot of gain in a lot of different ways, whether they're sharing my brand with others, right? Because I put myself out there, they find me, and then I can build my brand on social. There's some financial gain sometimes. And so it all is a matter of putting yourself out there, or you would never, no one would know who the heck you are. At the
right.
beginning of this, I wanted all those things. I wanted to have a show. I knew that being in the public eye would be the best way to reach a lot of people. But I had to do the hard work first. And now, 3 years later, is when I'm finally being able to create opportunities that I'm really excited about and that I really want and that I've worked for. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen by putting yourself out there and failing a few times and figuring it out until you finally get to where you want to be.
Definitely. Were there some frustrations toward the beginning that things weren't happening quick enough?
For the beginning, all the time. There's frustration all the time. I'm sure you experienced that with your podcast. Yeah. But yes, there was definitely frustrations. A lot of the time with me, a lot of the time with other people, a lot of the time with international pandemics. But it's just par for the course. I had a friend who literally just started her business about a month and a half ago. A former client turned friend, and she started her business, and she wrote me this email. I'd asked her to get me a review. She wrote this email and said, listen, I had to just take a step back. I had to just shut off. There's some work that didn't come to fruition and all these things. And I called her up and I said, listen, the conversation today can go two ways. One way is I listen, I say nothing. I love you. I support you, whatever. The other way is I tell you how much it sucks to be an entrepreneur. And it's great in some ways, but it's hard. And it's this back and forth and hopeful and not hopeful and failure and success. And you're constantly oscillating between these emotions. My husband actually told me that when I started it. He said, I support you 1,000%. I think that you have incredible skill and a knowledge base to share with people. But this is going to be an emotional roller coaster, and I'm here for you. I can be your rock, but I want you to be prepared that that's what it is. And he was right. That stinker was totally right.
Man, those husbands, sometimes they're actually
those
right.
Husbands. Yeah, I know. You gotta give them one. You gotta give them a win here or there. you don't get them often, but you got to give them a win here or there.
No, it's true. I beg for a win here and there. Occasionally I get one, which is
Yeah.
super great.
Yeah, right. It's relish that moment, because I'll tell you, as a wife, it's not, most of the time we're right about everything. So
it's true, but it is what it is.
Yeah. That's funny.
So you also have gotten the chance to be on QVC, which, geez, everybody knows it's huge.
Yeah.
How was that? I mean, that's such a big production. What's it like going on set there?
Yes, all of what you just said is true. Everyone knows QVC. Obviously, international. It's QVC. There's channels in like so many countries of the world. Interestingly, QVC is right here in Pennsylvania. So I live right outside Philadelphia. QVC is right in Westchester, Pennsylvania. So how did that happen? So I met a publicist who, when I first started to get into TV, I worked with a publicist because I obviously had no connections in that world whatsoever. And so she put me up for this audition at QVC. And the way that it worked when I was there, I'm not sure if it works all the time like that, is you go and you audition, you do a tape with random products. And then when products come to QVC, they actually look through this list of experts and they can choose somebody who they want to work with their brand. And so that's what happened with Calphalon is I auditioned, they kept me on file. And I think like a year later, QVC Calphalon reached out because they needed an expert for their brand. That has been, for me, extremely frustrating because it's totally different than educating about wellness, right? It's like totally a different mindset. You're there to literally sell a product. I love Calphalon. Like, listen, when I registered for my bridal shower, it was Calphalon. Like, there was just no question. So all my pots and pans are Calphalon. I love my toaster oven, or my countertop oven is Calphalon. Love it. But you're there to sell it. So there are specific speaking points. And so everything is geared toward that. And of course I want to get into, you can have your vegetables and your fish and, and I have to kind of like push that part of my life down. But yeah, QVC is such a well-oiled machine. When I went there for the first time to do my training, I mean, you walk in, it's so overwhelming. I mean, you walk in and all the QVC TVs, like all the countries are like there along the wall.
Wow.
And they're all like just playing live. And it's such a well-oiled machine. I mean, they have audio and video and managers, and it was extremely professional. Everyone was so polite and so nice and so encouraging and positive. It was experience that you could never pay a bajillion dollars for. I mean, it was just, and of course I'm on a lot with David Venable and Mary, and they've all been like, I can't even tell you how nice. Like, they're just such nice people. So overwhelmingly, the experience has been really positive. And a learning curve, but I think I finally have my groove now, and it's great. It's really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Glad to hear it's been such a good experience. Was it a little surreal walking on set for the first time?
Oh my gosh, surreal. I was sweating in every part of my body. You like float onto set, and it's fast, it's so fast. Yeah. It's so fast paced and it's hot live. So of course they do put you through training. It's not like they're just throwing you on TV, but it's really fast. I will never forget the first segment I ever did. You're standing there in front of your product waiting. And then of course the host comes in and a full swarm of people follow him into the kitchen. They're all there. You do your thing and he's out. And it's just, wow. And you're just like, what the heck just happened? But it was really very neat, and it has honed my cooking on camera skills so much because you're paying attention to food, you're paying attention to your speaking points. It was again one of those examples of being uncomfortable, but the only way that I was able to be better was through that experience.
Yeah. So, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, geez, you probably got all sorts of training for that's now just benefiting you, throughout life, developing your brand. So that's pretty cool.
Very lucky. I was very lucky to have the opportunity. Very, very lucky. Yeah.
Do you think that, people in various industries, maybe they're not even necessarily an entrepreneur, but what kind of value comes from developing a personal brand? I wonder what other industries, could benefit from that, where, maybe it's a little out of the ordinary, but making a name for yourself in any industry is so valuable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I obviously I network a lot, and I was seeing private patients, and so being in the business world, it's those people that are a little different that you really do remember. And I don't think that everyone obviously needs to take the path that I took, because not everyone's going to be out there on social media doing that. But even when you meet somebody saying, "Hey, I'm Jess and I'm a blah, blah, blah." And it's like, I'll give you an example. I have a friend who does DIY self help. And she says, "Hi, my name is Beth and I teach women how to hammer and screw." And you're like, okay, sure, I'm interested and I'm going to remember you. So I think, because I have a very abundant mindset. I think that there's business and there's enough, and it's all here for us, right? All we have to do is utilize it. And sometimes, the opportunity is not right for you. It's right for somebody else. That's great. But understanding your niche and getting back to what I said, what exactly I give you. What is the value that I give to you that you're going to then benefit from? Once people understand that, it becomes all about the client. It becomes all about that business. And that's your personal brand. It's sitting down to say, once you work with me, you're going to get this. Even if that's life insurance. Like, hey, do you want peace of mind? I'm going to give that to you. Right? It's all about understanding what your value is that you can bring, and then, doing it well. And it's sometimes it's not about all the things you can do. It's about one thing that you do really, 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 really well. And so, and again, that's that microwave, right? That quick result, quick solution kind of society that we live in, rather than honing in and understanding what you do so well, because we all do something well. It's not going to be the same, even if our industries overlap. So I think it's huge. It's so important to understand that piece of the puzzle and your brand, whether that's a personal, even being a doctor, right? There are so many doctors out there, but what are you giving to people? Why are you the best PCP ever? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just 2 cents on it, right?
I totally agree. And I think it's such a shame when people don't document any of that either, right? Like, you're doing all this awesome work. Why don't you capture and put it out there and, show that off a little bit to people?
I agree. I mean, that's a totally different, even if it's you're not comfortable in front of camera, even with these fast-paced videos, you could put something on a 2-time fast mode of you refinishing a door, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be you don't even talk to camera. You don't have to look at the camera. You can wear a mask and be anonymous. But you're right. People love that. And they love to see that behind the scenes. Hey, listen, I think it's all about people want to feel part of that with you. And I agree. So even if you're doing something that's totally out there that has no business being on YouTube, it can have a business being on YouTube, because people want to feel like they're part of that process with you, So yeah, I agree. I agree. Why not capture it? Even right now, we're capturing sound and our beautiful faces, right?
That's right.
Because it's going to be two mediums for the price of one. So I get it. It's awesome.
That's right. Shout out YouTube. You get the audio
Right.
and the video.
Yeah, YouTube. What's up?
So I see all these really awesome foods on your Instagram. Some are pretty interesting, kind of off the wall. Do you have any recommended weird or different meals that people should try that they probably never heard of?
Ooh, recommended weird meals. Unique ingredients for sure. I mean, I come across a lot of things. I'm in the business of trying everything and eating everything. So let's see. What I'm trying to think of something maybe more. Okay. Yesterday, I just made a kind of like an Asian-inspired noodle salad with a bunch of veggies, but I used kelp noodles, which are a seaweed noodle. And they almost look like cellophane, like clear noodles, but their kelp and seaweed is super high in iodine. So iodine is a great nutrient for the thyroid gland, which of course manages most of our hormone production and metabolism and growth. So that is a really unique thing. And they're a weird texture. They're like, I hate to use the word weird, but it really is such a odd texture because they're like chewy and soft, but not. So that was something that I just found. And I've honestly been getting into a snack that we just had last night is, have you seen those little cheese crisps? Have you seen cheese crunchy cheese.
Yeah.
They're delicious. Boy, to sit in front of to eat some of that with like some fruit and cheese crisps. That's a newer product. I think like within the last couple of years, I've seen more and more of them at the market. And I'm loving those right now. So those, I think yesterday I ate those two things, and I think they're worth trying for sure. For sure.
Nice. So
Yeah.
do you often look to kind of like other countries, other cultures when preparing meals? And, because I think a lot of people just eat the Americanized kind of meals, and that limits their, overall palate, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. For many reasons, I will culturally influence my meal choices or my spices or my marinades for real reasons. One, it keeps things interesting. And kind of going back to feeling satisfied after you sit down to have a meal, really, I think is hand in hand with longevity of those choices that you're making. You have to feel satisfied. You have to feel like you enjoy your meals. And if not, whatever you're doing is not going to last. Whether that's just a balanced and healthy lifestyle, which is what I promote, or you have a goal in mind of weight loss or whatever. So that's number one. Number two is all of these other cultures have their own spin on things, but they're good for you, right? So turmeric, for example, you're going to see in a lot of curry and maybe Indian inspired meals is great for anti-inflammatory benefit, right? Ginger, garlic, onions that you're seeing in a lot of Asian inspired meals, great for the immune system, right? Great for cardiovascular health. So I think that when we give ourselves the full picture of what food can be, not only is it interesting and delicious and wonderful, it's actually really nourishing as well, because you're getting all those other facets of the food. So yeah, I do look around the world. I mean, I grew up Italian, so a lot of the time I'm repeating a lot of Italian meals, but yeah, I love to switch it up, and we try to switch it up in our household. And my husband's great. Like he'll eat anything. He'll try it at least once. So I have it really easy in that department too.
Do you ever make anything and he looks at it and he's like, now what the heck is this?
Yeah, the kelp noodle salad yesterday, actually. But he tried it. So yeah, I mean, all the time. I mean, one thing about my husband and I is we love to be outside in our garden. We have chickens. We just love to eat from the earth like that. And so as much as we can do that and eat the eggs that we grow and the squash and the kale and everything we do. So in that regard, it's pretty straightforward. There's only so much we can grow. But, he grew up on a farm with chickens and beef and cattle and wheat. So he's very meat and potatoes. So often what I'm putting on the plate is a little bit unique to him and unusual, but he's there for it. He loves it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you can't eat healthy all the time, right?
No.
What kind of cheat meals do you get into?
Yeah. And can I just call you out? I hate why do people use that word? It's like
cheat?
Yeah, why
Yeah, it sounds so bad.
It sounds so bad. It gives such a negative connotation. Yes, 100% all the time. Not all the time, but 100% we do kind of try to balance our diet. And one of my favorite, we'll say cheat or maybe less nourishing meals, right? Things that I eat less of, but I'm down for a good pizza. Like when I go to New York to visit my family, like a good cheesy pizza is just hands down par none. Like that's what I want. And a bagel, which Pennsylvanians and other people in the United States, if you're listening, if you're watching, bagels come from New York. They're the best. I'm sorry. So when I go back home, that's what I want. Like a bagel with cream cheese and toasted and lox and some onion and yeah, give it to me. Love it.
So if we can't call it a cheat meal, what can we call it?
Balance.
Balance.
It's just you just need those things. I often will say, what am I eating most of and what am I eating less of? Because it's 2020. And unfortunately, navigating the grocery store, navigating stocking your kitchen, navigating working and children and all these things, it's a challenge for a lot of people. So, I mean, you could call it whatever you want, obviously, right? But I want people to understand, or at least one of the biggest things that I try to promote is it's all about being satisfied. So if you're really craving something, as long as you're not eating those really heavily processed items, and that's not for something that I say, that's because we know that leads then to chronic inflammation and heart disease and diabetes and all these things, right? Or flares of your autoimmune disease. If you're really craving something, I think that sometimes, and this is not medical advice, but go for it. because it just get it out of your system. And maybe it's once every 2 months. Cool. That's great. Right. I mean, I think we don't give ourselves enough grace or patience or, no one is perfect. No one. Even if you're empowered and you're educated, no one is perfect. So, it's balance. It's all a balanced lifestyle. That's all it is. It's not an everyday thing, but a once in a while thing in my book for me is I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So how often can I have Taco Bell is really what I'm wondering.
I don't know. As often as you want, as often as you're feeling the mood strikes, right? Which is actually probably not the worst thing that I've seen that people eat, but yeah, right.
Really?
Written.
Hey, that's good to know.
I've seen and heard a whole lot. But it's probably not it's definitely not the best, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably not.
No, it's definitely not.
So we're only a couple of days into the Wellness Kitchenista. I'm sure you have a big long-term vision for it. What's like your ultimate goal for the brand?
Yeah. So the Wellness Kitchenista really came about because I wanted to make sure that people knew exactly who I was when they popped onto my social media. They popped on the TikTok or Instagram. That's who I am. I'm literally someone who likes to have fun, be in the kitchen with my family, but also I focus on wellness and focus on those foods that really nourish my lifestyle and my body and my family's bodies. So that's why that happened. What do I see long term for that? Well, I would love to continue to make the TV show. So the TV show that I produced back about a year ago was geared towards specific illnesses. So every episode now, like when you go on Amazon Prime, it'll say like anxiety, high blood pressure. And so I had experts interviewed on that show, and I made meals that really align with the recommendations for that illness, right? And so if I could have a show that embodies that, but on a nationally syndicated linear platform. So when you're scrolling through the TV, you see a show that, you go to Food Network because it's the authority on food, and you go to people like the doctors or Dr. Oz or some other people that are the authority on wellness. If we could merge those two and have everyone know about it, and have everyone understand that wellness and health means something totally different for every single person, that's what I want for the long-term brand. So things that you'll see from me are giveaways. I'm always on social media educating. Actually, right after this podcast, I'm going to go educate on eggs just to timestamp it. So everyone can go back to my social media and learn about eggs. But that's what you're going to see from me. A lot more education, a lot more giveaways, a lot more brand recommendations. Because I think that's really important too. A lot of people don't have the ability to grow their own food like I do. And so they're at the grocery store and they need to feel empowered with making their choices. And hopefully a season 2 of the TV show would be a long-term goal where we really have some good backing and good financial support to do it. And so we can continue the longevity of that and continue to educate people. So.
Hey, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Angel investors, are you hearing me? Just kidding. No, it's good. It's all good.
Awesome. That's super cool. I guess that really lays out then what people can, pay attention to, but I'll follow up with this. I mean, why should people give you a follow?
Because I'm awesome. No, honestly, I do. I think that there's so much noise out there on social media, specifically, that I really want to cut through a lot of that. I want to cut through a lot of those fad diets. I want to cut through you must do this too. No, wellness really truly embodies your lifestyle, your food, your sleep, your stress, all of these things. And I educate about food. So if you know that omega-3 fatty acids are great for joint pain, and I'm sharing with you what those foods are, right? That's the whole thing. So you can say, well, I don't like this food, but I like this food. And they all have omega-3s, right? So I'm empowering people to really take what I'm putting out there, incorporate it into their life. It's easy, it's quick, it's practical. It has nothing to do with restriction or feeling bad about yourself. Everything to do with, here's the opportunity for food, here's the opportunity to feel great. And we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun doing it. Plus it's free, right? A follow and listening to a video while you're on the toilet, it's totally free.
Is that, the recommended spot to watch or what?
Yes, please. If you're on the toilet, put on Amazon Prime, watch an episode. You won't be sorry. We actually have an episode all about constipation and things. So yeah, no, wherever. Yeah. Yeah. Very fitting. No, but I like to listen to things like that, like TV shows and stuff while I cook. Right. Like, I think it's all about what we're putting into our brains, and a lot of the garbage out there I don't want in my brain. So I always try to, instead of just like maybe music, which sometimes the content I'm like, I'm not really down with this content. So yeah, I'll listen to a podcast or a video or whatever while I'm cooking dinner and just trying to, it's all, enriching my brain, and what I'm putting into my body is just as important as what I'm putting into my mind.
Exactly. Everybody enrich your brain. Follow
Yeah,
along with
please
Jessica.
enrich your brain. Follow me, The Wellness Kitchenista, on everything. And thewellnesskitchenista.com. You can find all my previous episodes there. Ways to work together. You'll find a link to my club. I have a cooking club where there's a private Facebook group. We offer support, food swaps. We cook live together. And that's really a wonderful opportunity for people to just kind of get that community feel, get some ideas for cooking, and really hone their cooking skills. So yeah, you'll find all of that at thewellnesskitchenista.com.
Awesome. I'm excited to continue following along. I need to try more of these meals that you're putting out
I
there
hope
because
you
they look great.
do. I hope. Thank you. Thank you. And this was so much fun. I really appreciated being on. It was totally relaxed, and I smiled a lot. So thank you so much for making it setting that tone at the beginning.
Hey, that's the goal. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time, and we'll be in touch. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.